The hell is your bell?
It's a little out of reach, and I was gonna look like a moron when the camera came up diving for it.
Okay, watch what I can do right here. Guys, if you want to know who Josh and I are on the boat, here it is. I am the bosun, and Josh is the
Oh
fifth
my
stew,
god.
which is not even required to be hired.
Okay,
So,
why did those titles come up? I don't like this. We're in a new season, and this is how we're starting.
yes, this is it. This is how we're starting below deck sailing
Jeez
as the
Louise.
fifth stew on a sailboat.
And you know
Guys.
what's sad is I was going to compliment you at the top of this and say how much I
Oh,
missed
shit.
you and
Taking
how
those off
nice
right
it is
now.
to be back. I take it all back. I just like our friends who are here. I could care less about you, Jason.
Guys, welcome back. And welcome back to Anchor Watch. It's our weekly below deck, weekly late night below deck chat where we take over Up and Adam's channel. I do have to say a big thank you. I want to say a big thank you to everyone here tonight who is sticking with us through sailing after this great season we just had on below deck with Captain Lee's final season. And everyone listening on the podcast, because that is where it is at. Like, if you guys don't like watching on YouTube, we have a heavy listen on the podcast. So go ahead and check that out on Up and Adam.
I got some messages too on Twitter and people just saying like, hey, thanks for keeping me entertained on my commute and stuff like that. So yeah, for those of you guys who are driving right now, if you just slowly go back and forth on the steering wheel, you'll make your car feel like you're in the ocean. and everyone on the road,
you'll be driving your own boat.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hey, Josh, really quick before we start, we wait for people to come into the room. There's already 80 people in the room, guys. Hit that like button. We know this is sailing. So this is, I don't know. Is it as popular as Below Deck or Below Deck Med? Because I feel like we have so many familiar faces. I feel like sailing is almost like a family.
Well, and that's just it. If you would have asked me 2 seasons ago, last season, I would have said maybe not as watched as the regular Below Deck franchise, like the main stage, but I feel like people have gotten to know the crew over time. So it's now, I really do feel like a big group of viewers are hopping from boat to boat with us. Like I think there's so much goodwill and so much. I mean, we know so many casts now, so it's like it's seeing old friends come back. Like, were you not excited to see Captain Glenn on deck? Yes. Daisy come up, Colin come walking up,
100%.
And then, like, weren't you a little heartbroken that Gary wasn't available to be on the boat? Come on.
No, I mean, yes and no. Hollywood, this is a really nice comment, and we really appreciate you, Holly. Yeah, I'm a member. I'm 73, and you two make me smile every day. Love your work, and thank you. Thank you so much, Holly. We appreciate you.
Holly.
It is really nice to be back, and I do have to say, we just dropped an interview that Josh and I did with Tyler Walker from Below Deck Season 10. It was great. Adam didn't see it until it premiered, and he was like, "Oh, this is really good." I'm like, "Girl, we know. We are Up and Adam for Below Deck."
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We are working hard to uphold the level of quality that the Addams family expects from the Up and Adam channel.
Correct.
So trust me, guys. Jason and I put we're texting back and forth about the show, in between the weeks and stuff like that. Like, we really do care about the show being good. And let me tell you guys, if you haven't got to watch the interview yet with Tyler,
so good.
So good. And here's the deal. I was really nervous to do the interview, not because of the interview. Like, I felt comfortable doing the interview. I was nervous because I liked him so much all season that I was going to be really disappointed if he turned out to be jerky, or if he was,
if he wasn't that same guy we watched.
He wasn't the guy. And you know what?
Season.
He was the guy. He was exactly who we wanted him to be. He was a sweetheart. He was really open with sharing a lot of stuff, really warm. And, he says he and Holly are trying to work on some projects. So we've given Tyler and Holly an open invitation that when they get it going, when they have something ready to share, if they want, we're going to bring them back on and let them share it, because we just
I would love to see the both of them, like, even just to talk to them together with a conversation. Haley.
I was saying Haley.
Or Haley, yes. So here's what we're going to do, okay? Because we have a lot of Below Deck connection. which is great because of where, you know, we live, and because of this show, which has grown, which is phenomenal, and because of also Captain Sean, who joins us on a weekly basis. We have a lot of connection in the Below Deck world, so we are going to start to interview a lot of the Below Deck cast, current, past, and are coming in the future. Which, guys, you just got to follow Tyler to see where they're at. There is going to be so much crossover happening in the next few seasons of
Yeah.
Below Deck Med, Below Deck, even sailing. So keep an eye open, get to know these people. They're great. I want to jump on something really quick, and I don't mean to
Mhm.
start like this, okay? But before we get into the recap and we start talking about Below Deck sailing, um, you know, Tyler made a joke on his social media. He's like, "Should I start an OnlyFans? Ha ha ha." And I was like, "Don't do that." You know,
Yeah.
like, I was just thinking in my head, like, let's not do that. And someone on Twitter commented on our interview with Tyler, great, you know, and mentioned something about, do you remember on season 9, which I hate mentioning because it was the worst season of Below Deck ever to exist, and it should have never, it was like below Deck. That was season 9, right? So besides Captain Sean, because hello,
Hello.
which we even mentioned in the interview. He was the only other person to share a season with Captain Lee. But so Jake, we all remember Jake, or as many people remember Jake's behind or ass on the show, is on OnlyFans. And in the reply that I got was Jake, and I was like, "Oh, Jake Falgar. I wonder what he's doing." And I push it, I open it, and it's gone wild. It's dicks in your face. It was.
Well,
I do not recommend anyone, especially in this chat, as naughty as we can get, as naughty yachties and big tip buoys. If you want to go see Jake's big tip buoy, you can go to his Twitter, you can go to OnlyFans, and it makes me think, like, did the show ruin you, or were you ruined before? Like, what happened? What
yeah,
happened?
I
He had
I don't know. I
talent.
have some thoughts and feelings about all this, and I know people feel differently and stuff. So
Yeah.
I won't say much, but I will say, like, I don't know. I wish people didn't feel they had to go to those lengths to get attention they're seeking. I don't know.
Yeah. Or money. And I understand that too. You know, we're all I,
Yeah,
I
but
don't understand because you are literally mm, I don't know.
I feel like it does close some doors for your future. You know what I mean? As much as we
That is
don't
the
admit it, and how
first thing I thought.
yeah.
Already we've seen you on the show. Okay? So that's forgivable. But then, like, when we see you, all of you, and everything you can do and everything you ever wanted to do is just out in the open, it's where do you go from there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? I think yeah, I don't know. Tyler is such a special person. He's such a sweetheart. I hope he saves part of himself for the special person he ends up with, because as a married person, as married people now, I forget you guys are married now. As married people, Jason, I think isn't it nice to have some things that are just special between the two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Even though we like to get naughty on the after part, well, this isn't an after party. I'm so used to the after party. I just
I
came
know
from an
you've been
after
doing so many
party.
after parties lately. Okay, so new season,
New season.
and
New
boy,
season.
are we off to a bumpy start. Um, you know,
Well,
we had first off, the whole crew wasn't there because, you know, our first mate, I think that's his actual official title, first mate Gary, he tested positive for COVID, and so they can't bring him onto the ship yet because they have to wait for that negative test. Now they did FaceTime. They showed a FaceTime with him and Captain Glenn. He was upbeat. He was his energetic self. He seemed ready to go, and he's just like, "Oh, I just need to get this stupid negative test." You know, he seemed raring to go. So that was good. Of course, we saw Daisy. She was first to arrive after Captain Glenn.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't know. It was just so nice seeing her walk through the door. I mean,
Isn't it like seeing an old family again? Like in here, and we'll get into the family talk in 2 seconds. Captain Glenn kind of starts off this season with, he's been with Parzival for 13 years, and he says she's had a lot of problems and has never let me down until this first episode when the boat cannot move because it is filled with water. I'm putting that in my questions for Captain Sean. The engine.
The engine, had the engine sucked in a ton of seawater, and to the point where Colin did what he could. He disassembled as much as he could. Then once he realized, holy crap, this is bigger than I can handle, he said to Captain Glenn, we need to bring in like the manufacturer to look at this. They sent members of the Caterpillar team to look at the engine, and their response was, we know what to do. We could totally fix this. It's going to take 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're not going to have a season because 2 weeks in a season, in a charter season, that's a big deal. That's a loss. If you can't move the boat for 2, I mean, we watched this episode, the charter guests arrive, right? And we watched them kind of be very disappointed, and everyone prepared for them to be disappointed on they're not moving. I would be disappointed if I'm paying that much money and you're going to take me out on a tender to play on some sandbar or jump in the water or do some, drunk yoga on
and here's the deal. Like I get, if it's like a storm, no one can control it, act of God kind of thing.
Sure.
If it was the engine thing, I would be like, hey, and me personally, I'd be like, that's on you guys. Like, why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you aware? And it's not my responsibility to make sure this thing is seaworthy. I paid for a cruise, and the weather's nice. I should be out there, So I would, Captain Glenn jinxed himself. Good call, Mary.
I mean, Mary, you said it. You said it. Okay, let's get into really quick because here's our new cast of Below Deck Sailing, right? Captain Glenn, of course, our Chief Stu, Daisy, our first officer, Gary, our chief engineer, Colin, Elisha, our new chef. I want to go through here really quick and live chat to join in on this. I'm so happy to see Captain Glenn back. He's like that. He's like Santa Claus. It's like, it's good to see you. You know what I mean? I just don't want to
say Easter Bunny. He's a little guy. I'd say more the Easter Bunny than
more the Easter Bunny. Maybe more like the leprechaun for St. No, I'm just kidding. Then we have Daisy, and again, Below Deck Sailing. To me, when I think of Below Deck Sailing, I think of Daisy, Gary, and Colin.
Yep. And Captain Glenn, the 4.
And of course, the first 4 here. But then we always talk about the Daisy Gary situation, which is like kind of like brother sister situation. But then they always like are interested in each other. But I feel like we're so connected as family. It's so weird to watch. And now you're throwing Colin into the mix this season. Who knows? Okay, moving on. We have this new chef, Elisha, who her energy is so fun right off the bat.
Yeah. And you know what?
How do you think about her? Or what do you think about her?
So I was nervous because she seems so youthful, which can translate to not as much life experience. It turns out she's just really young looking. She's been doing this for 16 years, she mentioned.
Right.
And she just killed it. And I guess for me, I was a little apprehensive because we have had some bad chefs, particularly on Sailing Yacht in the past. And so I got really nervous, like, oh no, is this another bad chef? Not at all. She brought it this first episode. I mean, she was doing the stuff that we love from our favorite chefs, which was like the presentation was beautiful. The menus were varied. There was definitely it sounds like there was a lot of skill in the flavor profiles. Like she was kind of like had a wide vocabulary, if you will, of cooking.
Sure.
And most importantly, the guests were raving. And so I was off the bat really excited. And I feel like that is a particular to get someone that caliber and then be a TV personality. There's not many Chef Rachels.
I mean, is this? I was going to say, is this a comparison to Chef Rachel, and can she compare? Because
no. But I'm saying, can she be of the same family as far as like entertaining and a great at her job? Possibly. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I'm
Yes.
hopeful.
I'm very hopeful on her. Okay, let's go back to the cast. I really like Alicia. I love the way she came on. I love her
Mhm.
energy. Let's move over to Lucy or Lucky or what? How do we say her name? She's Welsh.
So
The only Welsh word I know how to say, and I'm Welsh, is Kutch, and that's
I
hug.
so I thought, us Americans were reading Lucy. She pronounced it lucky, and she even made a joke that she is very unlucky because she's quite the klutz. Um, which fortunately she's endearing, so you can kind of like laugh it off. Although we'll see a few weeks in how much everybody wants to laugh that off if
Right.
it becomes, you know, aggravating. Um, but for the most part, I mean, she seemed. We saw right off the bat they had to clean the yacht and get it ready, and Daisy was really happy with the job. Both the new gals did.
Lucky
Um,
her.
yeah,
You know.
I mean, knock on wood, and I know we're going to talk about the exterior too, so I'm kind of jumping ahead, but so far we see a lot of competent people, um, which is good because they also have some big personalities. And so if they could kill it at their job and also give us some kind of, which it looks like we're going to get some drama
Oh yeah.
all season long.
Below
Which
deck sailing is the little like it's yeah.
yeah.
It's just that like kind of stepsister of below deck that like I feel like people don't love. You know, I feel like they watch it, but they're not as invested as if you're watching below deck or below deck med. You know,
Well, yeah, it's like you can go to a really fancy restaurant and bar and have a beautiful lounge and everything, but sometimes don't you want to go around the corner to the dive bar
absolutely. Is that where
and
we
just
are?
have some fun, play some
This
pool,
dive bar
listen to
right
good
here.
music? I know we're calling a sailing yacht, a beautiful sailing yacht, the dive bar, but you know what I mean. Kind of that. It just seems everything seems more informal and like more laid back, and so you kind of get a crew that can get a little loose sometimes compared to someone. Sometimes the other ones have to be a little more buttoned up. Um, so yeah,
I agree. So Brian says, I feel like compared to a massive power yacht or motor yacht, a crew on a sailing yacht has got to be way more in sync. I have to agree with that. I feel like this is a good question for Captain Sean when he comes on because it's like it's a different beast. It's not the same thing, you know?
oh, I
So
thought you were going to ask Sean his feelings about NSYNC.
I'll ask him about that too. Like, what was
Okay.
your favorite song? Who is your favorite? Who is your favorite band member? All
uh,
right,
which
let's go
Justin
back.
hairdo did you like the best? Um,
Before we get into the deck crew, I want to bring up one of our other new
Mad.
stews, Mads, Madison, or whatever. She reminds me, so she's from Boca Raton, Florida, right? She
Mhm.
reminds me of so many South Florida girls down here. I think my nephew is dating someone very similar to her.
The
She
way
is
she sounded, he
trouble.
could possibly be dating her. She sounded like she's pretty experienced the way she was talking. So there's a possibility he's dated her.
Many possibilities. Okay, then we have our two deckhands, our new deckhands, of course, Alex, who was kind of like the MVP this episode because he did take the charter guests out for, what he calls
I
like a
think I
day,
know why
day
you're calling
cruise.
him the MVP.
And girl, no, sit down. This is my MVP, and everyone knows it every
uh,
season. I'm a huge Colin fan for many reasons. Love Colin. No, but for Alex, he's this new guy. He's coming on. He's well equipped for the job.
oh my
He's
god,
well equipped for the job,
Jason.
right? He's there, but he's good. And for this situation, it worked out because these two new deckhands, him and Chase from Charleston,
Mhm.
they are kind of at a loss, right? Because they're joining this boat
Well,
that
and
they have no idea what's going on here. Colin is so busy working on the engine and figuring out what is wrong and why they can't move. And then you have these two who are like, where's the hose? Where's the pump? I'm like, it's
well,
a
no,
big
no, no.
yacht, but like, look around, girl.
Wait, well, yes, but I'll say this: they there's a difference between like being completely incompetent and just not knowing where the tools were. Like I felt like once Colin and once Captain Sean, or Captain Sean, Captain Glenn.
It's
Captain Glenn
been great.
showed the two where stuff was. They got to it right away. They got the job done. There was nothing where, Captain Glenn wasn't going back and going, oh my God, this looks horrible, or they didn't do this, they didn't do that. Like, there was no complaints about the work they did once they were shown where things were. So I think we have two guys who, like, both seem completely skilled, both seem eager to do the work. No one was griping or going, whining. I don't like when someone volunteers to do a job and then bitches about it. It's like, you signed up for this, moron, and you're on TV too, right? Like, what's going on here? So
What's going on?
But no one in this crew, it seems to be like that, at least so far. They're putting their best foot forward, at least at the top here.
At least at the top. Okay, I want to get into a situation really quick, and that's between Colin and Daisy. Okay, because the first thing that Colin says when he comes on the boat is he kind of piques interest, or not piques interest. He's curious about if Daisy and Gary are still kind of a thing, or have they made out recently? Like, he's fishing, it seems like. But I didn't know in these past seasons that Colin was interested in Daisy at all. But apparently this season we're going to get like some kind of hookup. This is the thing I'm talking about, though.
Triangle between
the
Colin,
siblings,
Gary and Daisy. Perhaps Colin and Gary hook up. Who knows what's going on?
Okay. I wouldn't go that far, but I would say it is a little awkward because, like I said, below deck sailing, we've talked about this before. It's like a family. And every time we see Gary and Daisy together, we're like, oh, that brother-sister relationship. And they cross the line, but then something in the back of your head is like, really, they belong together, right? Like, why are you guys not taking this to like go live in the countryside and like.
Well, we did see a teaser where Gary was addressing her and saying, hey, I think you're hooking up with Colin to get back at me because you want to be with me. And so it's like, wow, there's going to be, there's definitely going to be some fun. There's going to be some fun stuff to talk about this. I don't think you and I are going to be at a loss for content. Let's just say that.
No. And that's the thing is I know that below deck sailing is not the most popular of the 3, 4, 5 franchise. There are 5.
I think they're up to 12 now.
12 what? Franchises?
Below decks. Yeah. Below deck.
There's 15. Below deck Antarctica, below deck river raft, below deck Mississippi River,
rowboat, below deck.
How can you find the captains? Yeah, there's a whole below deck where no one's a captain.
Yeah, I think one has a raccoon as a captain.
Yeah, right. This is great. Is that yeah? Some Guardians of the Galaxy takes a charter. Okay, so. There are so many below decks if you think about it, like Adventure, Down Under, Below Deck OG, Below Deck Med, Sailing.
You named them.
Yeah, that's it. 5. All right, that's all right. That's cool. Okay, so but Colin is single, which is a first because he's had a girlfriend for many seasons, or I think at least
every
2
season
we've seen on the show, right?
I think every season he's been
every season, yeah. And then if you go to his YouTube channel, Parlay Revival, which I will put in the description, I always have it on the description when we recap the show. It's a great YouTube channel. Colin and some friends take an old catamaran, put it back together, kind of sail it everywhere. Great footage. It's a great channel, so you guys got to check that out. Just very weird that Colin and Daisy would be a thing. I just wouldn't see that.
Here's the thing I'm gonna miss. When he was with someone, he was very faithful, and so it put him in a fun position where he was basically the Jiminy Cricket to Gary's Pinocchio. He'd sit on his shoulder and go, I wouldn't do that if I were you, and he would try to advise Gary from doing something stupid. And then Gary would, fools rush in just head first to do something dumb. We're not going to have that this season. I think Colin's going to be doing some stupid stuff. We've lost our Jiminy Cricket. So I'm a little...
Who's the Jiminy Cricket in this crew?
We don't
I don't even know what's going to happen this season. This is crazy. This is actually the most excited I've been for a new season of Below Deck since this past season of Below Deck, which is crazy.
So I guess good job, Bravo. You keep
good job, Bravo. Good job. Who runs? This is not 51 Minds.
Oh wait, yeah, this is probably here. Yeah. Here we go. Below Deck Mississippi.
I'd watch it. You know what I mean? I think we'd all watch it. It's so funny because I was in the gym last week, Josh, and we were talking, like people were asking, like, you have like gym talk. You don't really get to know the people at the gym, but sometimes you talk, right? And they were like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, something like this and like Bravo, YouTube, whatever." Oh God, this woman was from Malta who I work out with. Makes me look bad. Let's just say that. And she's like, "Yeah, Below Deck Med was filmed in Malta, and I wanted to watch it because I'm from there, and it was really
Yeah.
great until it got to the drama, and I was like, this is so stupid, and I turned it off, and I was like, see, there's room. There's room for different kinds of yachting shows, I
So
feel.
funny, my wife was talking to a client today who was based in North Carolina, and Chase had mentioned, "Oh, I'm from the part of North Carolina that's known as we're the
Oh,
hospitality city
Charleston, South
of,
Carolina.
South Carolina." That's right. They were in South Carolina. So Natalie brought it up, and this lady said, "Oh my gosh, my parent," and Natalie, somehow they got to talk about what did you do last night, and Natalie, they were doing small chit chat, and Natalie mentioned, "Oh, I watched Below Deck last night." Ha ha. And the lady said, "Oh my gosh, it's the only Bravo show I can get my parents to watch. They love the show. They will not watch anything else on Bravo, but they love that show and they find it so entertaining." And to me, it's like, and you and I have discussed this a lot. It is that show that can get. I mean, you got me to watch it, Jason. I am not a Bravo person. They're like everything
Yeah,
else
I don't
is
blame
like
you.
I don't get it. I don't understand the excitement behind half of this stuff on these other shows, but you were like, "Hey, Josh, I think you would like this show." And it is interesting. And it's funny. I've gotten other family members to watch because they've heard about our nuttiness. But they actually enjoy the show and they find it entertaining. They don't watch anything else on Bravo, but they tune in for Below Deck. So
This is why that I feel like it attracts to so many more people
yeah.
because it's not just like, the young kids working at the restaurant, with all kinds of affairs. It's not like the women with all these fraudulent charges against them. It is literally just a circus that you watch, and it's the yachting industry, and it's hospitality, and it's
Well,
fun,
and
it's
it's like,
luxury,
yeah, people
or
who are in it
supposed
for
to
the
be.
luxury can see it. People who are in it for the drama can watch it. People who are in it to watch a bunch of young people have fun or can there's so many roads into that show that I think it brings a very now, do I think the community or do I think all of the viewers are as passionate about the rest of the Bravo shows? Probably not, because this is the one show they watch. But then you could have a show on Bravo that gets half the ratings but has 3 times the engagement from the audience. And I think it just depends on
First
the
episode,
show.
and thanks to TV Deets, we have to shout
TVD
them out.
always bringing the good
And Below Deck
ratings. Yeah.
Sailing on Twitter, Instagram, you guys, amazing. I know Brett, who runs this in person, amazing. Really keeps us up to date on what's happening, on like who's watching what. And I think this week we had 815,000 viewers for Below Deck Sailing, which is great for sailing because it's like the stepsister of Below Deck. But that's great. Usually Below Deck is hitting over a million or 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. This is great. This hits way above some others. I love some of these comments, guys, about what we should call like another Below Deck. We have Below Deck, Cirque de JJ. Yes, that would be us. Below Deck. That's good. I am the captain of Below Deck Walt Disney Rivers of American America Canoes.
Brian, I'm on the oh crap. I can't I grew up going to Disneyland every weekend and stuff when I was in
Like
high school.
Jungle Cruise?
No, I can't think of the Brian, help me out here. The name of the riverboat. I can't. Oh, the Mark Twain. There you go.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you're the
I
captain,
feel
the
like
Mark
I'm
Twain.
sorry guys, I'm tired. I had a
Good.
long
Josh
day.
is boring.
Um,
All right, that's all. That's we know. All
oh,
right.
hey, look at this. So Summer or Sumar Sunshine. Yep, my best friend dad watches it. Nothing else on Bravo. Yeah, I bet you that phrase is uttered by a lot of people when it comes to
Whole
Below
different
Deck.
audience.
Yeah.
Whole different audience. Okay, so here we are picking up the first charter, and we're already off to a rocky start because, of course, the engine is effed, which we talked about. But what I think we really have to look forward to this season are the guests. We've seen the preview for the guests to come. The guests look like nonsense. And Josh, we talk about this all the time. Below Deck Sailing gives us the best nonsense guests we could possibly have.
Well, here's the deal. Every story has to have a villain, right? And after a while, it gets boring when the villain's on the boat the whole time. It's more fun
Season
when the
9 of
guest,
Below Deck.
yeah, it's more fun when the guest shows up and they're the villain, and we get to see the crew rise up and defeat this dragon. And so it looks like we've got some really wacky people coming, which is
It's
great.
like Game of Thrones with the dragons coming in. It really is. I mean, just if you watch that, it's crazy. All right, let me try to move on a little bit here. Okay, out of all of this new cast, and this is for the live chat too, who are you most excited for out of just the new crew? Okay, because
just the new crew.
Just the new crew members. So
And actually,
you know,
I'm gonna pull up a tweet, Jason, that I put out. This reminds me of it because I tweeted when we were getting ready for this season to start. I tweeted out there, blah, 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 we love them all, but just for fun, who are you most excited to see next week? Captain Glenn, Chief Stew Daisy, First Mate Gary, Engineer Colin. The interesting thing was, poor Gary didn't get a single vote out of 41 votes.
I saw that. And I saw that. Here's the thing is that Adam put up a poll today too, or Adam Shaylee put up a poll today about that as well. Let me see if I can find it. And Glenn got no votes and Gary got no votes, but Colin and Daisy.
So this
like
one,
43%, 42%.
So my thing got 32% Captain Glenn, 27% Daisy, and 41% Engineer Colin. So it was a little more. I mean,
people forgot about Gary.
People, yeah, I guess that wasn't. But I think everyone loves Gary. I just think that they weren't. He's not going to get their first vote. But let's look at some of the people that are in the chat, Jason, that people are saying they're excited to see from the new season.
I'm gonna have to agree with a lot of people are saying the chef Alicia, which I have to agree with. Honestly,
Brian,
I think that she's gonna be the new chef Rachel of Below Deck Sailing. I'm sorry not to see Marcos back, but we know Marcos has a lot going on with this new restaurant in LA and promoting
Jason,
Below
real
Deck.
quick, I think it's important that everyone knows Norma did give Gary a vote. She did tweet me. It was after the poll closed, so she couldn't do it, but she loves her Gary. So Gary, if you're watching, know that Norma did not let you down. She voted for you.
Below Deck Sailing would not be the same without Gary. The work hard, play hard that we love to see. I mean, come on, right? We have to. But so on Adam's tweet, really quick, it says Below Deck Sailing season 4 premiered last night, and it's already dramatic as we want to know who you are most excited to see return. Captain Glenn, Daisy, Gary, Colin. Glenn got 5%. Gary got 8%, and Daisy and Colin were tied for the rest. So I think I mean, I love Colin. Everyone knows that. I love his YouTube channel. I think he's great. Gary is creepy. Okay, that's a comment. Yeah. He can be creepy. Here's the thing is I tried to compare.
Now that we met Ross.
I was just going to say Ross. You took the words out of my mouth. I was
Gary's
trying
now a lovable
earlier to compare Ross when we were, recapping Below Deck season 10, Ross to Gary, where it's like a work hard, play hard. When he plays, he like fumbles the ball. It's not good. It's awful, but he's really good at his job. Gary can fumble the ball harder and he's better at his job. You know what I mean? So I think that I think that Gary has the win here for sure. For sure. Okay. So we have the guests on board. Okay. Thank goodness Alex knows how to do these day charters where he gets where he gets the guests drunk. I mean, listen, when you fall off your chair twice, it's hard to call you nothing but.
Yeah.
But
those girls were enjoying themselves. Let's give them that. They were enjoying
and that would be me. I would be that girl falling off the chair.
The other thing too is they were polite to the crew. They weren't like mean drunks. They were drinking. They were having a good time. They were sweet to the crew. I felt they were appreciative of stuff, and they were actually including the crew in their playtime.
Yes.
Maybe a little too much sometimes. They're trying to.
For being as quiet and reserved as Alex was, I was shocked that he pulled this off. Like, really, all you have to do is put the gasoline in the motor, put the Tito's in the liver, and you were there. And now you have a drunk fest, which carries over, of course, into dinner, which, we see people falling off their chairs, which carries over into the EDM party, or as I like to say, the DEM party. It didn't even matter what they did. Balloons, lights, whatever it was, it just didn't matter because they were like, yeah, we're at the party. You know what I mean? At that point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I feel sorry for them at the end of the day.
Light in those girls' faces and told them they were in a warehouse and they would have had a great time. So
here's my question for Captain Sean when we bring him up. Sorry. You've said two stupid things tonight. One was that Pinocchio thing you said, and then
by the way, now we're gonna have two Pinocchios. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a fight.
We can't do this, Josh. We're literally on the list to mod a panel at BravoCon for Below Deck. You can't make me laugh like this. What is going to happen? By the way, BravoCon was announced today. You know that, right?
I had again.
Do you not know this?
I don't follow Bravo, but I had about 20 people send me screenshots. Half of them were sending me Adam's announcement from his Instagram. Josh, did you see? And I'm like, I follow Adam. Of course, I'm aware. And then I had a bunch of other friends sending me like, Josh, don't you do a show that's, don't you cover something from Bravo? Look at Bravo. Are you going to this and stuff? And I was like, oh boy, here we go. So yeah.
Hey, fingers crossed, everyone. BravoCon is in Vegas this year, which is closer to you than me, but we have a lot of roots in Vegas. We met in Vegas, Josh.
We met in Vegas. My wife is born and raised in Las Vegas. So we could go visit family, and trust me, there's already discussions have already been started. So
yes, they have. Yes, they have. So please pray for us. Pray for us. Hopefully we will be modding some kind of a Below Deck thing out there. It's in the works. Okay. Before
if you guys
anything
want it,
else,
Bravo. They'll
go ahead. Hashtag BravoCon 2023. Hashtag AnchorWatch. Hashtag @ send
SeeJoshGo.
Messages. Yeah, let's just see Josh.
You guys want this?
Just let Josh do it. I don't really care.
No, yeah, right. Jason would be. How hard would Jason be crying, guys, on the side of the stage if I was up there with the Below Deck crew?
I mean, listen, I was the star before, so if you want it now,
oh my God, do not start with that, folks. We're gonna go offline. We had a great show.
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
The end of Anchor Watch. We are no longer doing this show.
All right, guys. With that, I'm really looking forward to the season. It looks great. It just looks like a season of Below Deck, like something that
there wasn't a moment on that trailer that didn't look fun. We're gonna have a great season. We're gonna have
especially with US 5th Stu and me as the bosun.
I need to get control of this, Jason. I need to fix this.
Corey, you got to learn some StreamYard. All right. Okay, with that, let's welcome Captain Sean, because I have a question for him. And while we welcome Captain Sean, I will disappear for 2 minutes.
Do it.
Do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Captain Sean.
Bye. I'm doing it tonight. Probably gonna start a fight. I know it can't be all right. Hey, baby, come on. That's my favorite NSYNC.
That's your NSYNC. This does not look like
No, that's a palm
New
tree.
England. This doesn't look like New England. What's going on behind you, buddy? Where are you?
I am live tonight from the Worth Avenue offices in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Globe trotting with the we keep finding you in different Worth Avenue offices in different cities. This is amazing.
Yeah, and it's nice. They always have a couch for me to sleep on, so it's good.
Good to see you, buddy. It's been a couple weeks and stuff. How have you been?
I've been good. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I mean, we're in Monaco, then I was with Jason in Palm Beach, and then back up to New England, and now I literally just flew in, and Jason's back.
And if you guys didn't see the video, It's on. Is it on Up and Atom 2, Jason?
It is on Up and Atom 2, channel 2. So that's where we put all our behind the scenes and stuff like that. And you can see Sean or Captain Sean and I walk through Motor Yacht Sienna, which was one of the most famous yachts from Below Deck of recent, which is now called Motor Yacht Starship. We had such a blast, and that was so fun.
Well,
And
Yeah,
what
that
was
was
really
fun.
funny is we only had like it was like 500 views for like a few days, and I'm like, oh, did I release that at the wrong time? And then all of a sudden, we got a ton of views on that, and I'm so glad that people got to see that.
Well, the thing I thought was cool was, I mean, so many of us know the ship. We've seen it so many times, but yet, like Sean, you were showing us upgrades galore on that ship. Like it's been through quite the facelift. Not that it even needed it before, or at least it
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
appear
it did.
on camera.
Well, also, you know what
Well,
I
it
thought
looks
was
gorgeous
interesting too is there's parts of that boat we never saw before. We've
Yeah,
never been
like the VIP suite.
the VIP suite where you showed us where all the production stuff was like kind of set up, where the production team was set up. It was really cool, but also to go into the engine room, because on Below Deck Sailing Yacht, we've seen the engine room before. We've seen them work on it. We see them in it now, but we've never really seen the engine room of a Below Deck motor yacht show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. Maybe the engineers have never been ready for prime time. That might be part of the reason. Like, hello, master.
Yeah. Like the Phantom of the Opera under
I
the
throw the switch.
But aren't they literally like the people who run the boat?
They'd like to think
Right?
so.
spoken like a true captain.
There's a famous joke where it's like the captain and a chief engineer are both deciding who has the most important position. So if the engineer goes, the captain says, all you do is sit down in that engine room and drink coffee all day. And he goes, well, yeah, you do nothing up in this pilot house. He says, oh, yeah? He says, well, how about we switch? So the captain goes down to the engine room. He's like looking around. He finally calls up to the pilot house. He goes, I can't make this engine room go. And the engineer calls down. He goes, well, that's okay because we're aground. But anyway.
Captain Sean, I have so many questions for you just about this,
Yeah.
and also a question on this most recent episode of Below Deck Sailing Yacht, which I saw something I wanted to ask you about. But before we get into that, because I see like one or two comments in the chat, but a lot of people, they know that Motor Yacht Sienna was renamed. And is there any bad luck to renaming a boat?
Yeah, so there was a famous instance when Errol Flynn, who was a famous swashbuckler actor during the 40s, he bought a boat. I forgot what the original name is, but he renamed it Scirocco. And when he did that, that's when he had the party on board, and he got accused as he was the original Me Too guy, and that's when his career kind of went sideways. And he always blamed it on that it was bad luck to change the name of a boat. Now, that can be true, but the way to negate that bit of bad luck, because boats names get changed all the time, is that you have to rechristen it. So you got to get a priest in to like re-bless the boat. I'm not making this up.
Not a priest.
Re-bless the boat. And then you're okay. You're all right. As long as you get it rechristened, then the bad juju goes away.
What are the requirements for a rechristening with a priest?
Well, I suppose if it's got a bulbous bow, you got to get it. If it's a Jewish owner, you got to get it circumcised. But I mean, that would be.
Lord have mercy. I can't. Okay, so moving on. Moving on.
No dangling sail in the front.
On this recent Below Deck episode, I noticed that the sailing yacht don't really change into their whites. I saw the chef change into their whites or their blacks or whatever they call them.
Hello, Holly. Anyway, so
she did. Daisy did ask the gals to switch into their blacks one time, but like they didn't greet the guests. Normally, like this formal welcome.
So I ran the sister ship for Parsival. I ran Baraska, and when traditionally sailboats are a little more casual when it comes to the uniforms. It was my girls on board that boat. I had them in Armani, and they were like I had a great uniform budget for that particular boat, and they look fantastic. These great Armani shirts with like great collars on it. They're for their nighttime. And then during the daytime, I ran that boat prior to Lululemon, but we tried to jazz it up during the day because basically like cotton polos and skirts or something. I always thought that it wasn't a great look, and actually it's kind of hard to move in. So even back on Baraska, we looked at we had Paul and Shark and Armani and and the sports gear, and not Armani Exchange, but real Armani. And
yes, let's be clear.
let's be clear. And my crew looked really good on board that boat, but it wasn't traditional in the senses where we didn't wear the epaulets and stuff on. When
And
I was on
who decides what the shirts are going to look like, or if they are wearing a skirt, or if they are wearing shorts or a skirt? Is that the owner? Is that the management? Like, how does that work?
Well, usually it's the owner's wife, and this is how. And because this is what happened, it was on Baraska. The girls looked great, and the owner of that particular boat, his girlfriend came on board and saw just how good the girls looked, and she literally went out and bought new uniforms for them that looked just like basically they were like burlap sacks, and put them in those bags because she was jealous because they looked great, and they weren't slutty. They just looked elegant, and they looked really sharp. Like I kind of the look I went for on Baraska is if you walked into
the Dukes of Hazzard, Daisy Duke.
I've run that boat, but not that wasn't Baraska. No, Baraska was like if you walked into a really great restaurant and were greeted by a very elegant hostess.
How similar was Baraska to Parsifal?
They're sister ships. They're almost identical.
Okay.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they're real close. I could look. I haven't even looked it up, but but anyway, but similar systems. They're both big Perinis.
That's great. So, sorry.
Hey,
you lost me there. I was like, wait,
did you go towards them and get them to just touch tips just for?
Oh, good Lord. It is not all about the tip, but it is here at Anchor Watch.
So there was a fleet called the Mirabella fleet. And the Mirabella 5 was one of the largest sailboats, largest single-masted sailboats ever built. And there was like 3 and 4, but they had a whole fleet of them. Anyway, so I was literally with the owner of Mirabella, and we were having like a coffee, and she gets a phone call, and she's like, "What? And Mirabella 3 and 4 were having were dueling, and they did smash into each other.
A sword fight.
It ended badly.
Well, this season we were teased with an anchor drag, and it looks like they're going to collide with someone now.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, we get teased with that kind of stuff, and then it's like we're totally fine. But
Baraska, the anchors on those Perinis, we had so much. Those sails are still just a mast without the sails. Is so much windage that they really move along. You've got if you're in deep enough water. Do they ever talk about the keel on board that boat?
Occasionally.
All right. Well, anyway, it draws approximately 14 feet of water with it's got an articulated keel. So and then when you go under sail, this more keel comes out of the bottom of the boat. So occasionally, if it was really windy, but I was anchored in relatively deep water, I'd drop that whole keel down, and it kept me from sliding around.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You bring up a good point. Even without a sail, just this huge, massive stick standing up, that I could see the wind pushing up.
Well, we were on the Navy. I went to a school called Tabor Academy, and we had a 100-foot schooner, and we were off Hatteras one time, bare pole sailing, no sails up, and that's how the wind was blowing, well over. It was 80, 90 knots, and we were going with it with no sails, just whipping along.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Captain Sean, Judy says, Captain Sean, I love listening to you. You need your own podcast.
Well, why? Thank you. Well, I have you guys, so that's all.
Hey, you know what? And guess what? You will be doing you're doing something tomorrow. I will be with you tomorrow.
So
this will
tomorrow,
be-
tomorrow I'm doing a I don't know what I guess I would call it. Yeah, call it a podcast on the future of tech and cybersecurity in yachting, and in the marine industry in general. And Marsh McLennan is one of the world's largest insurers, so that should be fun.
That should be fun.
It should be very interesting. Sean has teased us with some stuff and kind of told us about some things off camera and stuff. Fascinating.
It's so crazy to me. Every
lots of big
show,
money, so the money to protect them gets very serious. So with it comes some interesting things. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
At every boat show, at every function that I'm at with Captain Sean at, there's just so much advanced technology in that marine world. It's so interesting to see. Captain Sean, I know that you have some questions that were given to you too, besides my questions about other stuff.
So I got one question, and this is from Elaine. She goes, "Did you revamp the Starship because you own it now?" No, I do not own Starship.
we will be on it tomorrow, though.
Hey, I'll tell you this: if Captain Sean owns
tomorrow,
if Captain Sean owns Starship, we'd be doing every episode from Starship.
Yes. Tell you that. From different ports of call. Absolutely.
I wouldn't be sleeping on the couches at Worth Avenue anyway. And then he goes, "Who owns Parsifal 3?" And I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. And then the other question I had was, so this is from Michelle. And she asks, if you can't leave the dock due to a mechanical issue with the boat, how do you handle that with the guests? And that goes back to kind of when we were talking about the weather question. It's the same thing. If the boat's not safe to leave the dock, we can't leave. Yeah. So you can either offer. I've been stuck at the dock with guests, and you kind of, if you have a big tender, you can figure look over here, not over there.
Yeah.
What happens in that situation, though, when the boat doesn't leave the dock or it can't leave the dock? Weather is understandable, but let's say the boat, like we just saw, in this
dramatic mechanical failure.
Like the boat doesn't work.
I didn't watch the episode. So where did the mechanical failure happen?
So the engine just is full of water, so it can't.
Yeah, I think the intake sucked in water.
Well, all right. So I'm going to explain something on those vessels. Like when they're heeled over, you actually get, what happens is that on the upside, they can't suck water in because the water intake is actually the exhaust. Anyway, the two things happen. One, actually, I'm getting it backwards. When it's this way, when it's pushing water out, it's underwater and it back pressures up through the engine, and that's how you get water in the exhaust in the engine. So what happens on those Perinis is you get a valve that shuts it off and reroutes it to the other side. So if that didn't happen, then the water would back pressure through into the engine, and that could be one thing that happened. The other thing that happens, it has a thing called the heat exchanger, or has an oil cooler. Probably if there's water in the actual engine, then probably the oil cooler failed and water came in through that. There's a couple of different ways that can happen. All of them are bad.
Well, so here's something, Sean, that might help you kind of pinpoint what happened there. Captain Glenn got the boat to the dock, thought everything was fine, was ready to go. He gets his new engineer on, and Colin goes, "I can't get this engine to start." And that's when he pulled off the gearbox. He started pulling things off, and he's like, "Oh, this thing's flooded with water." So is it possible one of those things got him to the dock and then all hell went?
Yeah, if it was running, I mean, those engines are really, you got to do a lot to kill them.
Yeah.
But once you turn them off, they need, their internal combustion engines, and water doesn't combust. So
no explosion. Yeah.
And so that could happen. Also, too, if it's literally filled with water, the hydraulics just won't let it just what the water, the engine will just seize, and you got to really literally take the whole thing apart, or like flush the whole engine out. I mean, there's ways you can get down and dirty and make them work. The other thing that could have happened too, I mean, there's a million different things. There's little zincs that stop the electrolysis on board, and if you miss a few of those zincs, that can cause electrolysis inside like a bunch of the different heat exchangers. That happened on Latitude after I left, and after my engineer Cliff left. They were on their way from Bali to Australia, and there was a zinc that they had missed in the monthly maintenance. And so they didn't check that for like 6 months, and then that actually caused a hole in the oil cooler, which then the same exact thing happened. The engine filled with water and it seized up.
Jeez.
Yeah. So my question too is similar to Brian's in the live chat. Is there a difference between if you're a charter guest, an act of God like weather, or a mechanical failure? Would these charter guests get like some kind of I don't want to say it, but like a refund or?
Oh yeah, 100% they'd get a refund.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, if you can't
very interesting.
Charter, then they would get a refund.
Which is great because they got kind of the experience and now they can afford to do it again. So that's fun.
I don't know, but I don't know what the charter contract. I mean, that's a freaking nightmare.
That's a whole nother story, right? Like dealing with all of that mess. Sean, we've been on for an hour. We appreciate you being here as you are every week, and especially taking the time globe trotting with us. Okay, so now I just want to go through this. You have been on Anchor Watch via or at in Holland. You were in Holland, right?
I've been in Amsterdam. I've been
Amsterdam, Monaco.
I've been. I was Florida, Massachusetts, Los Angeles. I think. Yeah, all over the place. Yeah.
Did we get you from London one time?
I think you did get me from London.
We did. I feel like London.
And I think were you in Washington at one point? Or was that?
I was never in Washington.
No. Sean, you came out to Washington.
I was in Seattle.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah. I think in Washington.
We are touring the world here on Anchor Watch, guys. So if you don't feel a part of the world right now, we only have Captain Sean to thank for that. Norma says, gracias, Captain Sean, por compartir con nosotros. So,
gracias. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then, and by the way, so I posted that video. There's 3 below deck sites that and then somebody posted it. Random person posted it on Reddit.
Nice.
So
our tour.
Yeah,
but a lot of views.
But so there's 3 below deck groups that there's this one nice group that I'm on, and then there's 2 that are like, ooh.
Can imagine they're not all nice.
They're not all nice.
Bravo.
But
yeah.
I'll tell you though, I put one on one of the big groups, and there was some people there. There were Anchor Watch fans that were in those groups that like someone just said, I don't like him. And that was it, or something mean. And I just said, enjoy the video. And and then it was like the fans of the show came and they're like, you should watch him on Anchor Watch. Or like, watch the video. And it was really nice that people were coming.
It's fun. And I'm glad we can share like a different kind of insight into the show as well. Because, Below Deck for me borders on this like that Bravo kind of drama, but at the same time, you have to have real skill to be on these yachts and to have these questions that you answer every week. It's important and it's interesting.
We'll talk about the real skill that they need to be on.
I mean, yeah. Let's listen. Your season 9 deckhand Jake is showing some real skill on Twitter OnlyFans right now.
He reached out to me like right after
to partner up for a shoot?
For an OnlyFans shoot.
Yeah, it was the 2-for-1 tip night anyway. But I
don't know if I'd watch that.
I'm not going to get an OnlyFans page, but I'm just out of like sheer curiosity. I'm like, I wonder if I'd have I wonder if I'd get fans on OnlyFans.
Well, there's
For
only
you?
one way to find out. Guys,
only way
tune
to
in
find-
next week.
There's
We will be sharing Captain Sean's OnlyFans things. He does some
Yes.
amazing things with a
Every
hand
week.
mirror. Wait till you see.
we will bring you 15-second clips of Captain Sean's new OnlyFans. Okay.
Is he
Anyways.
ringing the bell? What's going on?
yeah.
We don't know. That's the mystery. You got to keep the mystery on OnlyFans. Captain Sean, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I cannot wait to see you tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to this. It's a very private like podcast thing happening tomorrow. I get to come and be a part of it, which is kind of fun.
Are we going to have a
document
link we
that.
could share next week? We can all.
We
check
will
it out?
have, we will have some behind the scenes little like footage and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If-
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
whatever.
there'll be some good stuff. And don't forget to tune in to my new Below Deck show, which will be Below Deck Cannibal Lifeboat, where we can put guests and crew in a lifeboat, and then with no food. And,
Who's the captain?
we get to see. Well, I don't know if it was
Fastest hands, I think, wins.
I would be like, I think no, you could put all the captains in the lifeboat.
No, we cannot.
And see
We can't even put them all on Twitter. So they, like, I don't know how that's gonna work. Sean, thank you for joining us tonight. We know you gotta go. I know you're super busy, and tomorrow
There's hurricanes behind you, by the way. So be careful.
It is very windy here in Florida.
It
right
is.
now.
It's extremely
very windy. And I think it's gonna be raining tomorrow, which really sucks, but that'll be fun.
I have a great outfit. I won't wear it to the boat though.
All right, Sean, thank you for joining us. Have a good night, and we'll see you in a minute. Josh, okay, what are you most looking forward to this season in Below Deck? Sailing yacht.
Looking forward to seeing who will develop an OnlyFans page.
Okay.
No.
I mean, it is a Below Deck thing. You have Camille, you have Jake.
It seems like there's always one each season now.
People are like questioning it. Should I? Yeah, it's a quick dollar. Okay, go ahead. Take off your clothes, run around naked, whatever, but don't expect to work again. Right?
It'll work, but maybe not the work you want to do.
Yeah, right. It will be on a pole, which is not bad. I know some good.
Sorry,
I know some good dancers on a pole who keep their clothes on. Okay, so
there we go. Yeah.
There we go. I mean, we do. They performed in the circus.
So, what am I looking forward to? I mean, a lot right now. It's kind of everything. I mean, just watching the first season and then seeing an exciting trailer for the rest of the season, or first episode, seeing exciting trailer for. I mean, they've really set us up for what's looking to be an entertaining season. I will say too, this crew too is usually entertaining. Like at least that core group is always great, and it looks like they did a good job casting this season. I feel like we've got some good personalities. Nobody was standout annoying too. I'll say this. There's usually somewhere I'm like, that person's annoying. This crew seems like maybe one, but I won't say who it is. But
just Gary again?
No, not Gary at all. Not Gary at all. I really like Gary.
Great observation there too. But I do feel like usually Daisy always has someone who's like under her wing already or on her side already. And I feel like Lucky, Lucy, and Madison, they are their own thing. And then Daisy's over here. And I think this is going to be the first we're going to see that in a season, I think. Because, I mean, I'd rather have that than Ashley Marty in my corner eating pasta in my face. So I think we're good on that. But I do see, like, here we go. We have a competent crew, right? We have Gary is not there yet, but we have Gary and Alex, these new guys who are coming in, deckhands. One's a captain on these day charters. Chase has a lot of experience. He's like into the hospitality thing and like whatever. I'm from Charleston. Cool. But I feel like this is going to be a great season. It might be their best season we've seen so far.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're all hopeful. That's a good place to be.
It's a good start.
Yeah, we've had some seasons where we go, "Oh, this is gonna be rough," but this looks like it's gonna be fun. So I'm excited. Are you guys excited? I hope you are.
I hope
think we
you are.
Right? We all are. Right?
Guys, and if you're in the live chat, let us know. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment below. And if you're listening on the podcast, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
tuning in
Drive
every
safely.
week. I mean, yeah, drive safe. Hey, that's the way to do it. The podcast listens are in for this show. So we really appreciate that. And we will be back next week to recap the second episode because now we will be in it. And now we will get more of a clue of where we're going. And we'll have Gary back.
Folks, we ask each week, but the way you could tip us, hit that like button. It's so easy, but yet it does ridiculously nice things for the channel when you guys hit that like button.
Absolutely.
So please, if you feel so inclined, just reach over, give it a tap. And yeah, love you guys. This is so much fun. We were off 2 weeks because of spring break and we were between shows. So I was looking forward to this, and you guys did not disappoint. I had good time.
Not disappointed at all. And we said we keep it
comments
30 minutes. And every week we say we're going to keep it 30 minutes. We wind up in an hour because we have such a great chat. We have Captain Sean, and I love doing this with you, Josh. So this is fun. Hopefully we will be doing this in Vegas in November.
Don't jinx anything.
Have a
This
good
ship
night.
has been good to us and it never lets us down. All right. Should we say goodbye, Jason? Let's shove off. Let's say goodbye.
Guys, have a great night. We'll see you next week.